we have our next panel that is coming up, and if we can rally them, and they're going to talk about, I'm going to read this to you because I want to make sure I get it right, co-creation with NFTs and the opportunities of decentralization. And that we have Aleksandra, and we have Ishika, and I'm going to pronounce Laurie, and I'm going to pronounce Theus, but I may be pronouncing Theus wrong. But please welcome these power women to the stage and give them your love and attention, please. Thank you. Come on up. Woo! Woo! Let's go. Let's go, ladies. Let's go.
1, 2, 1, 2. Thanks so much for the introduction. Yeah, anywhere. Yeah, 4 of us, so I guess I'll go in the middle. Yay! I love how we all have our support groups. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming. I'm surprised to see so many people here after all the parties this week. So a round of applause for our audience. Really appreciate it. So today we're talking about co-creation with NFTs, the opportunities of decentralization. And before I sort of like introduce our panel, how many people know what co-creation means? Could you raise your hand? Oh, okay, yeah, well, we have a very educated audience, no pressure today. So the reason we chose this panel is because I believe co-creation is very new, and not many people are still sort of like using the terminology. It's being used interchangeably between collaboration and co-creation, so we'll dive a bit deeper into that today. But first, let's do a round of introductions. So I'll start with myself and then pass on the word. I'm the first speaker. Most people know me as Aleksandra Art, but sometimes they spell the full surname and it doesn't fit the alignment on the screen. My background is in digital arts, and I worked for the top-level .art domain. So in 2016, I was part of the launch team that released .art domains, and I worked there for 5 years as the head of partnerships. And we worked on launching many different digital initiatives within the cultural space. And about 2 years ago, I started my own creative studio, and I fell down the rabbit hole of NFTs, worked on many different projects. We launched Relief earlier this year, which was a charity initiative that raised $1.5 million through NFTs for Ukraine on the 3rd day of war. And then in about May, I joined Join XYZ, which is my current company, and we focus on creative collaboration and co-creation. So henceforth, my very big interest in how we can connect creators to produce innovative projects. I'm going to pass on the words maybe to you first, and then we can jump around.
Thank you. I am Ishika, abstract artist. I have been painting all my life, but I joined NFTs more than a year ago now, and it has been a roller coaster of ride. The excitement, and finally feeling I'm home. I'm home with the right sort of people who understand me, who get my art. And I felt seen, I felt heard, I felt appreciated. And yes, I felt safe. So that's what NFT is all about for me. To be finally home. And I will be here for the long run, creating art, minting, and sometimes selling too. It is going great. I do host Twitter Spaces, and I do try to connect with souls, because I feel like with NFTs, we are connecting, building bridges, connecting souls. And this is all about having a big family across the globe. So yeah, that's me. I am Ishika. I do paint abstract.
Here you go. Would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm Thais Portillo. People know me in the space as Madam Selkie. So if you find me on Twitter, you'll find me as Madam Selkie, not as Thais. I've worked for a very long time, for the last 20 years, in a very boring, what for artists is a very boring career in PR and a little bit of journalism, but I've always, I studied fashion for a tiny bit of time, and I've always liked painting, mostly for myself. And when I found NFTs about 7 months ago, my very good friend Brian Brinkman started posting lots of things on his Twitter about being into NFTs. And and he's a well-known artist in the sort of real world and in Web3. And I started getting interested in it. So 7 months ago, I joined the NFT space, and it just opened up a world of just opportunities and different, possibilities and everything. And it's been fantastic to be able to create, and I went mad and I started collecting, and I just love art. I've always consumed art in real life, and having NFTs is, being able to collect art in the form of NFTs has been fantastic. But I kind of, I'm in between worlds. I'm very much in a sort of normie kind of PR, political PR, even worse, world, and NFTs, and I'm just, which is completely different. And I kind of I would like to kind of weave a thread in between those worlds, and I think it's a bit of my mission in this space. And I just love spending time with artists and feeling like I can be an artist. I've sold some pieces, I've been painting a lot, and I feel like one day I can actually call myself an artist. I'm not quite there yet, but I feel like I can. I'm not you, Ishika, you're an artist. So thank you.
You are too.
Hello everyone, so I'm Laurie. I'm one of the two co-founders of ArtPoint. So at ArtPoint, we've been engaged in the promotion of digital art since 2019. So we began this journey trying to democratize access to digital art in public spaces like hotels, corporate offices, retail spaces, because at that time, it was quite hard for the artists to find opportunities to sell their work. People were not really into NFTs at that time, so we created this unique streaming solution to generate royalties to the artist and to get them more visibility. And we directly jumped into the Web3 journey when the craze towards NFT arrived. So now we are really creating an ecosystem with artists, and we want to enable them display their work in places that really value them. We want to help them sell their work to true patron collectors. We have the collectors that really want to find the best of digital art and let their collection come to life in the real world. And we have the exhibiting places that really value the work to the public. So we want to create more mainstream adoption to NFTs, exhibiting it to the mainstream people.
Thanks so much, fantastic power woman on the stage. I'm really happy to have such a diverse group to discuss quite a wholesome topic, so we'll try to move quickly. In terms of co-creation, so sometimes you would see I use generative art as an example. I don't know how many people collect generative art, but essentially, when you look at collaboration, it's essentially more of a formal commitment from both sides that people are going to work together towards a project. When you think about co-creation, you not necessarily need to have a particular set of skills to help someone create the project, their final project. So with collectors, they sometimes hit mint, and exactly that moment of time is captured on the blockchain, and that variation of the code comes out. And similarly, what empowered us right now to work within this space is the opportunity to have a more diverse series of outputs. So for example, if you work together with artists to project them on the screens and provide them new opportunities, you're empowering them through PR, and you're directly in this practice, we can all contribute with our different set of skill sets. So I would love to ask, what would you feel, how, we all work with communities, how do you find communities empower you in your practice and maybe affect at the end the direction you're taking professionally?
Wow. For NFTs, communities, everything, that's what I was saying. That's home. And I feel like I can be me, finally, without the judgment, and surrounded by right sort of like-minded people. Because before, I'm into abstract, and abstract is not for everyone. So I used to get lots of crazy feedbacks too, lots of sometimes a bit negative too, because that's what I'm saying, abstract is not for everyone. But after joining here, I felt like this is the freedom I have been craving for all my life. And community played a big role in it. I was hiding myself, and slowly after joining NFTs, I felt like I grew so much, not only as a better human being, confident and stuff, but also as a better artist probably, because I'm learning. Every single day is a learning curve here. And when you go to Twitter Spaces, you see hundreds of artists coming up, exchanging ideas, sharing. It's like a school, like fun one, the good one. And I have to thank my community for making me me. It wouldn't be possible without that very word, community. So of course, for me, it's everything.
Amazing, thank you. Do you see, like, based on your previous experience, do you see your practice changing now that you're more in the NFT space?
Not yet, but I hope it will. I, at the moment, in real life, I'm committed to doing a type of work. But when I see the initiatives and the new projects that come up, and I'd like to mention one which I think kind of is within this line of like Web3 and real world, which is the Meta Rembrandt project. I don't know if you've heard of it, please do your own research, but they are putting all the works of Rembrandt into the metaverse. They already have all the digital collection. It's the Rembrandt Heritage Foundation, I think, that's running that project. And it's an interesting thing because I look at these projects and I feel there is so much potential, not only within this community that we know and that we are a part of within the NFTs, but to open it up to the mainstream, to the world out there, to people who might appreciate it, who enjoy art, who go to museums. Museums are always packed with people who want to consume art, and yet for some reason we haven't been able to get these people to join us. And I feel that these communities that we're building and these projects that we are experimenting, because I think at this point in time this is a huge experiment, will be. When it's really strong and it's really settled, will be the stepping stone, to opening up, to it becoming a much wider mainstream community. I mean, there are other issues which are outside of the NFT world, in the crypto world, that need to be solved before we can get people, ordinary people, you men and women out in the street to join this space and to consume art the way we consume it. But I think we're making steps and we're getting there. And I feel like I'd like to be a part of sort of building this bridge. That's I think that's how I feel about this community, and maybe how it has affected me and how I can affect it. So yeah,
definitely bridging the gap between Web 2 and Web 3. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
You mentioned also consumption, and I think, Laurie, like you have been working on sort of like the consumption of art, and now almost decentralized consumption, not only on our screens but also on screens within the public space. How are you leveraging the blockchain technology? Like, how is your practice evolving in your business?
Well, when we created the streaming solution for businesses, we did a market research. So we went and see, I think, thousands of hotels, corporate offices and everything, but it was not so natural. And for them, it was sometimes a bit embarrassing interview. And I feel with Web3 and the community, they feel really engaged and they appreciate that you ask their opinion, so you can really create a product that definitely fit to what they want. So we are doing the technical roadmap with the community, so we always share what will be, for instance, the collector dashboard, and we ask what they want to see here, what they would like to have as, I don't know, a collectorship program. And it's very powerful because then if you create with the community, you create something that has more value, and then you already have your promoters, people that will speak about you. So I really like this kind of tech development, and I feel it's very healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if anyone's building products, I'm sure many people are talking to the community, and same at Join XYZ. Like any improvements, like whether it's technical or UX, we always pass by our community and hear feedback and collect as much as possible. Like it's co-creation at its essence, essentially.
As a very simple example, we were wondering, well, should we offer the opportunity to get a print for the NFT? And in Web2, we would like develop a feature, and perhaps it won't work, so you would have lost time and energy and money. And with Web3, we'll ask the community, would you like to have some prints? And then we develop it if it's worth enough. So I really like that that feeling of co-creating with our end.
Yeah, for sure. Like even like we work a lot on like the marketing and helping projects like enter the space and market their NFT collections to the audience of creators. And it's an incredible difference between Web 2, where you would spend money on advertising, whether Web 3, you actually spend money for giving your community opportunities. And we have an artist here, so I would love to hear, like, from an artist perspective, businesses asking for feedback. Have you been asked, or do you see like the UX and the experience improving in a more artist-oriented fashion with the new businesses that are being built for the creative community?
Yeah, I feel like this is just the beginning of a new adventure. And of course, I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful by now I see more artists, especially from traditional art background, who never did digital. And they are slowly coming into here, and they are trying digital as well. Even I did. And the bridge between traditional and digital, and building more opportunities. I'm very excited for future, especially coming from traditional scene. And I see so many tools coming, and people are being very innovative, creative. And we just don't care what are the rules. We just do us, and that's the beauty of the space. So of course, I see so many. Yeah, it's a revolution in every way possible.
We're living a Web3 revolution.
Absolutely. So I'm very humbled and grateful and lucky to be here with the whole thing. So yeah, buzzing.
Yeah, we're all buzzing from coffee this morning as well. So we talked a lot about the positives, and I just wanted to ask you, you have a very probably critical angle. What are the challenges? Like, what do you think is not being addressed right now or there's room for improvement? Because as we see more businesses enter the space, obviously some of them enter in the rocky way.
I think we've been given, within NFTs, we've been given the gift of running our own projects and creating our own initiatives. That's the whole point of decentralization. You're your own person, and you're your own business. My greatest advice to as someone who's interested in new projects, and I get interested in PFPs, and I like that side. I mean, I'm a one-of-one collector, 100% into it, but I also get, the PFPs, and I'm interested in that side as well. And I feel like some of these projects, people spend a lot of time looking at the technical side. How am I going to make it work? On mint day, how am I going to make it work? Just on the sort of technical aspect, and they end up forgetting a little bit the customer service, the speaking clearly, communicating clearly with your buyers, communicating clearly what you intend to achieve with that project. And I have felt very frustrated after minting on a few projects, which I could see had a lot of potential. But I got frustrated with this lack of communication, this lack of foresight. Where is it? Where am I going? Now that everyone's minted and I've got your floor is not going to raise magically. You have to have a great concept and great execution. And great execution also means great communication and a clear, being clear about your intentions for that project, and also. Don't forget that everything, including people's attention span, moves very fast in this space. Everything moves fast. So if you don't explain to people from the beginning that this is going to take a long time, even if you do sometimes, if that your project is going to take a long time to pay off, it's likely people will lose interest. It's likely your floor price will collapse. And if you're in it for the money, which I think a lot of people are as well. I mean, it's art, but it's a business, so you have to marry the two things. You want people to consume your art, but you also want people to,
not starve to death. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think my greatest advice is it's to be more professional, because at some of these operations there is a lot of people are very well-meaning and they're very creative and they're very, their concepts are interesting, but they are not surrounding themselves with people, with professional people, with people who can tell them, this is what's going to work and this is how you're going to do it. Some projects work like that and they're very down to earth and they're very well managed, but a lot of the projects I see aren't, and it's a real shame because they are very, very interesting and they have a lot of potential and they could be doing a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. Like we're running out of time, so it'll be my last question. Maybe we'll have time for audience questions. But I just quickly building on that point, I see some projects launching in the space where they actually do the opposite way. So they first start building their Twitter profile, start building their audience, and throwing out theses like we're building this, we're building that. Massive threads, and essentially they haven't built anything yet, but they're collecting feedback to see like what kind of direction they're going to take and when roadmap pressure is being taken off. And also, I think like the general rule is under promise and over deliver. Like you don't want to like overhype unless you're a rug pull, right? And I wanted to ask, like, as a business, do you ever feel pressure? I mean, you're not really pump and dumping NFT collections, but you do work within, the same space. Like, did you ever have to feel pressure from the community that certain things were under-delivered, or maybe they wanted something different? And how did you deal? How do you deal with these situations when the community almost like is overpowering and wants to have more input?
Yeah, that's interesting because I were on many Discord server, and sometimes I was seeing communities putting a lot of pressure on the project, and I was like, I don't want that for Artpoint, because I don't think we are in this timing. I mean, art is about slow as well, and it's about relaxing, and it's a parenthesis. So I didn't want something around FOMO and everything. So we just tried to be transparent and communicate a roadmap that is possible to reach. And it's okay. So I think you're right. The issue is when you overpromise and you underdeliver. But I think we're just very clear on what we're creating, delivering on the right timing, and also not on that rhythm of everything going too fast for art, to my opinion.
Thanks so much. So true. We have about a minute and a half. Do we have any audience questions? Please raise your hands now, or I'm gonna go and jump and ask you another question. Oh, okay. Yes. Do you want a mic?
Hi. I was wondering because many of the co-creating aspects that you mentioned felt a little bit like, why do I need blockchain for this? Could you maybe go a little bit deeper into why or what token enabled things are co-creation for you, or helping you in your life? Thank you.
Should I go first, or do you have an answer? I'll answer quickly and then pass on the word to you. So I think for me personally, I work a lot with artists who practice generative art. And essentially, has anyone collected long-form generative art? Just so I know how much I have to explain. Okay, yeah, so we have. So basically there was digital art started in the 50s with creators working on computer arts, and you were able to basically program systems to create codes that would visually look like art. But then recently there was the rise of the long-form generative art collections, where creators would write codes and actually, on the blockchain, the person would be able to mint at a certain timestamp the variation of the codes, and it would be recorded. So everyone, essentially, the collection has a different variation of it. And I think that has, through like blockchain, like through art blocks, through FX Hash, has organically provided a place where the collector and the artist are able to create something together. So I think this is one of the formats. I think another format we're seeing is split contracts, so split revenue contracts for royalties. You can also program smart contracts in many different ways where different people have different level of inputs depending on their contribution. We're seeing writers also being able to mint their writings and then have, for example, feedback from the community, which is being altered. I don't know, we're out of time. Do you have anything else to add?
No, maybe I think what is interesting also is all the DAOs and how you can also co-create with the community, let them vote with the token and everything. But you're right. I also think that co-creating with the artist and make automatic revenue split is also something very powerful. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. But
Have
it's a
time
really
to-
good question. Like, I wish we had more time to dive into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.